Most people don't wake up one morning and suddenly see the world differently. Awakening is not an event. It is a slow, quiet erosion of the illusions you were taught to trust. And once it starts, there is no going back. Because seeing the truth comes with a price most people are not willing to pay. Today, we're talking about that price and why the world becomes colder, sharper, and more dangerous the moment you begin to think for yourself. It always starts the same way. A question, a doubt, a feeling that something doesn't add up. Maybe it's a contradiction, a story that changes, a fact that everyone repeats, yet nobody can explain. The moment you tug on that thread, the world reacts. Not with answers, but with resistance. Most people aren't protecting the truth, they're protecting their comfort. Because the first cost of waking up is simple. You stop fitting in. You don't laugh at the same jokes. You don't follow the same opinions. You stop nodding along. And suddenly, you're difficult. You're negative. You're overthinking. But the truth is this, you're not changing. You're just waking up. And the world prefers you asleep. The pushback. Every system, social, political, educational, technological, has one thing in common. It depends on people not asking questions. When you wake up, you disrupt that balance. And that's when the pushback begins. Not from shadowy figures in dark rooms, but from the people closest to you. Friends become uncomfortable. Family becomes defensive. Colleagues avoid the conversation. Why? Because your awakening exposes their sleep. And nothing makes a person angrier than being forced to see what they've been ignoring. You don't even have to preach. Your silence is enough. Your existence becomes a threat. Not because you're dangerous, but because you're awake in a world built for the sleeping. The invisible price. There is a cost to seeing patterns others overlook. A cost to questioning narratives others accept blindly. A cost to noticing contradictions others pretend aren't there. And that cost is loneliness. Not isolation, loneliness. Waking up doesn't remove you from society. It removes the illusion that society understands you. You begin to see the mechanisms behind belief, the incentives behind information, the fingerprints behind decisions. And suddenly, the conversations you used to enjoy feel hollow. The news feels scripted. The trends feel manufactured. The outrage feels staged. You look around and realize most people aren't thinking. They're repeating. And once you notice it, you can never unnotice it. That is the invisible price.
The real reason awakened minds are feared. Institutions don't fear anger. They don't fear rebellion. They don't fear loud voices. They fear independent minds. Because an independent mind can't be predicted, can't be pressured, can't be controlled. And the moment you wake up, you stop being manageable. Not because you're hostile, but because you're aware. You start asking, who benefits from this? Why is this being pushed? What aren't they saying? Those questions are dangerous, not to you, but to the frameworks that depend on obedience. And that's why awakened minds are quietly sidelined, not censored dramatically, but filtered, nudged, minimized. You're not silenced, you're drowned out, buried under noise, lost in distraction, overrun by narratives engineered to dominate attention. This is the price of waking up. You become someone they cannot easily use. What they don't tell you about truth. The truth doesn't set you free. Not immediately. First, it isolates you, confronts you, breaks you down. Because truth isn't comforting. Truth is surgical, sharp, precise, persistent. The more awake you become, the more illusions you must surrender, and that hurts. You lose certainties. You lose tribal protection. You lose the luxury of pretending. But here's what most people never understand. Waking up is not about becoming superior. It's about becoming responsible. Once you see clearly, you can no longer act blindly. And that responsibility is the heaviest price of all. Why some people never wake up. People don't stay asleep because they're weak. They stay asleep because waking up has consequences. It demands courage. It demands discomfort. It demands sacrifice. Some people sense the truth, but look away. Some step toward the light, then retreat. Because deep down, they know waking up means losing the world as you knew it. And most people choose the world over the truth. The real reward. But here is the part few ever talk about. Awakening has a reward, not for your comfort, but for your character. When you wake up, your mind becomes your own. Your choices become intentional. Your voice becomes authentic. You stop living on borrowed beliefs and start shaping your own. You may stand alone, but you stand awake. And in a world built on illusion, that makes you powerful. Because the ultimate price of waking up is also the ultimate freedom.